after that massive win by the Tars over the Crusaders last weekend, we decided to get their best player. That's right, we have got Jed Holloway on the blower. Jed, how you doing, brother?
How are we, lads?
Living the dream.
How good's this?
Living the dream. Yeah, this is awesome. We've been raving for about a month now that we have to get the best player from the Tars on the blower, and unfortunately Tate Edmer was unavailable. But we were able to get you, so thanks for your time, Jed. But mate, run us through that win over the weekend at Leichhardt. 10,500 people going absolutely skits mix, and you knock off the 12-time champions in the Crusaders. How about it?
Yeah, man, it was pretty special. Coming off a pretty rough loss to the Chiefs, and then pretty intense week of training building up to that Crusaders game, and it was nice. It was nice to get off to that early fast start, and then we were lucky enough to kind of hold the Crusaders off there and come away with a win.
Hey Jed, mate, Ados here. Obviously, mate, brilliant game on the weekend. But you have been fantastic this whole year, I just want to mention. But I want to just go more on a personal note. You've been in a Wallaby squad. You left, you had a little stint at Munster, I think it was, and then you spent the last year in Japan. And you've just come back and your game's gone to, 2 different levels. Has the experience overseas helped you sort of grow and develop as a player, and help you come back into Super Rugby and, put in the performances that you have been?
Yeah, man, I think the perspective overseas gave me was critical for me. I've talked about this a few times, but just living in Sydney, and if results aren't going your way, you get turned on pretty quickly. And as a young guy, you don't really learn the tools on how to deal with that. And I used to beat myself up pretty hard about a loss or a bad individual performance or something like that. And I think going away to especially Japan, you learn off guys, Kieran Reid and Willie LaRue, and Hoops was over there with me as well. You sort of soak in what they give you, and they just gave me the perspective to kind of, it sounds bad, but just care less about that stuff and just enjoy footy for what it is, because it doesn't last forever. And it was unreal. It's like you go over there, you're paid quite well. You don't know what language they're speaking. I mean, you know what language they're speaking, but you don't know what they're saying. So you're just there to, you really learn to enjoy the footy side of things. And I've just brought that perspective back, and just really loved what DC's and their coaching staff are offering at the club. And there's such a great group of lads there that they've all just really bought into what we're trying to do, and the results are kind of proving that.
Jed, we talk about that enjoyment that is at the club at the moment, and obviously it's a big contrast from last year. DC's come in, he's a breath of fresh air. Let's discuss kind of, I guess, the impact he's had, the other coaches have had, and the group at the moment. How are you guys keeping that enjoyment? Obviously winning helps, but what's been a bit different?
I think he's kept a really good measure on accountability amongst all the players. Everyone's getting called out for stuff, but everyone's getting taps on the back as well if we're doing well, or if a positive happens in the game. And also he's just brought like a real, I guess, club rugby vibe to the place, which is hard to bring. So good. Yeah.
I love it.
But a bit of a looseness around, and it's just like, it's a good feeling. Like, you get called out, as I said, but also it gives you a big hug and a kiss after a game. And the boys are just really, really enjoying that side of him, and it's been a breath of fresh air.
Jed, Ryan here. Oh, Ryan, how weird is that? Friends here.
The kill switch.
Dal sort of stole my question a bit, but like under DC, it just seems like you guys have got that sort of new lease of life, and sort of like you're obviously there with the checker days. as well. Like, what's the sort of differences there? Is he just getting around the boys a bit more, like you said, keeps you accountable, but also has a bit of fun as well? Is that sort of the vibe? The style of footy is good to watch.
Sorry. Yeah, I'd say, he's put the most focus into team culture, I've seen since Checker. When Check first come in 2013, it was all about, learning the other side of the man, like learning about what he does away from footy, what he's about, what his family involves, who his family are. And DC's really done a good job at that throughout the preseason. It hasn't just been a one overnight thing. It's been built over the last 6 to 8 months. But on the flip side, like him and the coaches are putting in so much time coming up with our game plan and making us giving us full confidence and trust that we're going to go out there and play well under that game plan. And he's given the forwards license to throw cutout passes and
nice.
do stuff. I think HJH was going to have a chip and chase on the weekend. But, it just gives us that freedom to play footy and you get a whack if you don't pull it off, but if you do, he's going to pump you up. And it's, as I said, it's just an awesome vibe in there at the moment. And he's talked about being tough, and the boys are really showing that. We're putting our bodies on the line. We're, putting our heads in mauls and disrupting there, and then we're scoring tries as well, which is great.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm a big Reds supporter, but I've been watching the Waratahs a lot this year, and it's been actually good to watch. But as a fun fact, the old NRC highlight, the thing that sort of advertised for NRC, I think it was Jed deleting me of a hospital ball. So I can't remember who passed it to me, but I've got the ball and you just fucking ended me. I was just like,
That's sick. That's
good.
Real nice, man.
I think we won that game anyway.
Ago,
That was a lot. 2014 specifically it was, but yeah, we won that game, so sucked it in. No.
But actually,
hey, Greater Sydney Rams didn't win many games.
Yeah, no.
Bloody
that was a hell of a time.
Speaking of not winning many games, Southern Districts, mate, they haven't been going too well this season. We've seen like your old mob. They've been one of the bench setters the last few years, but this season seems, at least in Shoot Shield, and you were talking about DC bringing a club culture type of feel to the TARS setup. It looks like it's almost permeating back through to the club setup, because you've got sides like the Two Blues getting some like guys like Tavita Funa back, and they're really playing good footy. You've got guys like Carlo Tazano and Lungy Gleeson chopping up for their respective clubs. That connection between Shoot Shield and that Super Rugby setup, is that a lot stronger? Does it feel that way under DC?
Yeah, I definitely think we've, mended that bridge a little bit.
Because it was a pretty serious issue for a moment there, wasn't it? Like there was a lot of chat between the distinct disconnect between the two.
Yeah, there was definitely a disconnect there. But, DC's had a couple of club teams come in and train against us. Souths were meant to, but we had a few COVID outbreaks that day, and they had to be shipped off home, which sucked for them. But I think we also had that trial against Parramatta, Newcastle, and West Harbour as well. But you can definitely feel, clubs are reaching out, wanting to support the TARS, and we're also feeding back to them. DC's done a great job at releasing most of the players. As you said, Langy's been an absolute beast for the Marlins this year. Max Douglas, Tavita Furner at the Two Blues. Like, how good is it to see that the Two Blues beating Sydney Uni on the weekend?
Even in Queensland, it's good to watch.
Yeah. Even Queenslanders love that one.
Yeah.
that one resonates.
I think all of Australia like that one. But yeah, mate, Souths are going through a bit of a rough trot at the moment, but
yeah,
I have no doubt that, they'll come out the other side. I think, COVID's been tough on them. They've lost a fair few numbers, as I think most clubs around Sydney have. And The competition's tight. The best teams have won 4 games, and the lowest on the ladder, I think, is South or West Harbour at the moment, and they've won 2. So, mate, it's anyone's competition, I feel. If you turn up and play on the right day, you can beat anyone.
Hey, Jed, mate, just quickly, there's obviously the build-up to the Crusaders game. There was that photo doing the rounds of, one of our favourites on this show, old Charlie Gamble, rocking up to training in that, in that funky attire, just looking relaxed. Just talk us a bit. What was the purpose behind that?
You know how in America they do they wanted to call it Tars Fits and do like kind of American theme. I think DC got it out of the Guiltinis.
Right.
But you know how they rock up to games all dressed up and something like that. But
yeah.
Mate, we all did it except our captain, Jake Gordon. So
oh, boo.
I think he was a bit self-conscious to get a photo taken of him. But mate, I just got to touch on that bloke. Like, Charlie Gamble has been an absolute phenomenon for us this year. I can't speak of him high as a person, as a teammate, and to see him getting the results and like the accolades for all the hard work he's been putting in is, I'm so stoked for that guy. And let's hope he becomes Australia eligible soon, because surely he's putting his hand up.
Yep, bloody oath, man.
And how good's a stash as well.
I was about to say, with a mussy and a hairdo like that, you got to keep him away from your missus, man.
Yeah, seriously.
Seriously. Bloody hell.
I had to check if my missus was following him the other day. Not even joking.
She's only following me.
Yeah.
Dal, you got a question?
With this group, you've got, do you look a little bit further down the track? There's a lot of young kids coming through. Aiden and I kind of always talk about Tane Edmed and how far he's come and how well he's going. But there's a lot of young guys in this group who are starting to really step up. Do you, as a leader in that group, kind of look a little bit further down the track and see where you guys can get to?
Yeah, well, DC made a good point today. He's like, we got to stop looking down at the ladder to try hold our position and start looking up to see where we can get to. Because, ideally, if we can continue to win or play like we did on the weekend, we could potentially get a home semi-final if we continue to keep on growing as a team. So, mate, it's exciting. Like, I've never seen a red-headed 10 play so well. And
Since Dallin Murphy.
Good save.
That's awesome to hear DC say stuff like that. Like, obviously now we've got the we've opened up. We've gone to the New Zealand and all that sort of stuff. We're playing them guys now. It's good to see, and I sort of like to see the Aussie teams do well, even though I like the Reds. I'll say that again. Nervous, boys. Nervous, fangirling. No, but it's good. You guys are playing some good footy. Like, it's been very exciting to watch. And some of these young guys, like you said, they've been amazing to watch. And some of these, every week, it must be pretty hard to select a team, I reckon. With some of these guys that are coming through, I don't really know what I'm asking, to be honest.
Wait, hold on. I'll roll off.
I'm talking in circles there.
That was a nice little monologue there, Freems. But sorry, Jed, just on that, you've obviously, you've talked a lot about DC, and I love everything that I'm hearing. He's obviously, success follows the man. He's obviously doing things right, and you've obviously got 2 guys underneath him, Gilly and Witts, who obviously have a lot of input in the game plan. Has the approach changed from going to Super Rugby AU into the Pacific? Are you guys changing the way you play against the Kiwi teams compared to when you prepare to play the Aussie teams?
That's what I was going to ask.
Not really. I'm a stupid forward, so I've just put my head in balls and scrums and stuff. So our game plan hasn't changed too much, but I definitely know, we don't want to play too much in our half. Yeah. We want to try kick it and put it in the stands when we are exiting, because we want to limit the time that they can counter-attack. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it's just about being physical, trying to, slow down their ball and have a fully set D line, because as you know, if they get quick ball, they're hard to stop and they move it around quite quickly.
Yeah.
So it's just, sticking to our strategy, also knowing that, things are going to happen in these games and they are going to score two quick tries, and that's okay as long as we stay in the fight and we're willing to stay at it and not give up. And I think, we showed that in the Chiefs game to come back from we were 24-0 down or something to bring it right back. I think it was 27-24, and we just ran out of gas there because we had a few troops down, but and we had bloody HJH throwing lineouts, which is a bit of a disaster. But,
he's a very talented bloke, that guy, eh? He can do a hell of a lot.
He'll tell you about it as well.
Kind of like Ryan over here.
You throw better than me.
But yeah, for me, the game plan hasn't changed too much. It's kind of been similar to what we are doing. It's constantly, looking at our own game and seeing how we can get better from week to week, as opposed to constantly changing it and trying to make it more about us instead of worrying so much on Kiwi teams or Australian teams.
Awesome.
And just finally, Jed, obviously on a personal level, you've become a father in the last 18 months with baby Noah. How has that changed you as a player and as a person? Obviously, you talked about your experience before about overseas and how that kind of molded you. What about that impact it's had on your life?
Yeah, I've never thought something would change me as much as being a father has. I think it keeps me accountable and it keeps me present, because I always want to make sure I'm there for my wife and for my daughter, and it also puts ownership over what I've done over my career. I probably haven't been the smartest with money or the smartest with my recovery and stuff like that, and now having a daughter and a wife, it makes me realise that rugby is a short-term thing and I've got to make the most of it while I've got it. Yeah, honestly, it's the best thing in the world. When she come to a game, because they're currently in America at the moment, but when they come to a game earlier in the year, it was hard to hold back the tears. And she's starting to walk and run around now, and she was picking up a footy the other day. So I'm not going to force her down that path, but she keeps at it.
That's absolutely awesome. Well, Jed, mate, you've been absolutely crushing it this year, mate, and we wish you all the best for the rest of the season. Thanks so much for joining us, brother.
Cheers, lads. All the best, eh?
Later, brother.
Thanks, mate.
Have a good one.